There's some song about Alice in Wonderland that won't stop playing in my head. There's something about Tom Petty. There's something about murder mysteries. And we gotta talk. Belong to your own dream. Create your own life. You need to do what is right for your soul, not as what others will tell you is right for you. Wake up. It's your moment. And then you got keeping up, immense effort, advantage. So right away, there is a conversation from your spiritual team, spirit, however you want to identify, your higher self, that now is the time that you create your dreams. As I'm saying this, Mars just went direct, is going direct, depending when you see this, February 23rd, 2025, but this will still be a reading no matter what. Now is the time that you can start moving forward. It's green light time, but it's got to be because it's what's truly right for your heart and soul, because that's truly what you want to do. 111, as they say this, and not because others are telling you, or out of fear or concern that somebody might not stick around if you're not doing what they want you to do versus what your heart and soul is telling you to do. Some people must get left behind because shame on them for trying to make you something that is not authentically you. And how dare anybody try to decide who you are and what you're meant to be and do. Do not drink the poison. Do not do things you know are bad for you. So, my dear, you have beautiful, impossible, incredible things that are allowed to start coming your way. Working through disbelief, imaginative leaps, fresh perspective. If this was tarot, I'd say this is definitely having the Fool card coming out. A new journey, a new beginning, a new way of being. Like when Alice got out of the looking glass, when Alice finally got back to the real world again in each case, she was a new Alice, unlike the one she was before, the 2.0, the updated model, so to speak. And as you're leaving the cocoon from caterpillar to butterfly, if you want to use that analogy, you're allowed to be the new you, the different you, whatever that means. And if people say, you've changed, yeah, we're meant to, we're supposed to. And if you're not, then you're not in my group, in my category of life that I need. Because a cockroach doesn't change forms. But a caterpillar is not sure of what's going on until all of a sudden they're in the dark place going, hey guys, I'm suddenly in this cocoon and I don't know what's going on out there, but I'm going to do some stuff on my own. That's why so many of you have been solo dolo doing your own thing. You're like, I'm not going out there. I'm not peopling. Now that you are leaving the cocoon and flying into the light, remember, butterflies don't realize they have wings. All of a sudden, they're just hovering off the ground out of darkness into light. And they're all right. But it's weird. And everything's different. Do you really think the things a butterfly can, will, want to do is anything like the caterpillar they used to be? By the way, Alice in Wonderland, there was a caterpillar in this. A-E-I-O-U. Who are you? You're much more her now than you were before, but you lost your muchness, my dear. So now it's to find the muchness that you left behind somewhere. That's part of this message, is finding yourself, but the true self, not the one you were pretending to be before for all those fool people. Manage to be glad. Pretty sure that's a honey badger on that card, which makes me laugh even more. Create your own happiness regardless of the conditions. Don't drink the poison. Manage to be glad. Impossible things. So the combination of these cards, interestingly enough, manage to be glad is 43 and impossible things is 34. So mirroring numbers, I look up and it's 444 and 1010 on my clock. So you got a lot of numbers going on. When I say don't drink the poison, remember that those beneath you, the snakes, the cockroaches, the rats, only rear their ugly heads when you're surpassing them and making their imposter syndrome, their inferiority complex nonsense kick in, because they didn't have to stay that way. They didn't have to utilize their actions, that wounds that way, but they're cowards that will never be able to be at your level, my dear Alice, whoever you may be. No matter your gender also, please do not think that there aren't male Alices in this analogy, because whether you're the Mad Hatter or Alice, you're still meant to be doing your own thing, creating your own world, so to speak, and not drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, because now is your time. This is the moment. You're creating it now with your new timeline. You're allowed to dream and what is that song? The Impossible Dream. You're allowed to imagine impossible things. What does Alice say in the Johnny Depp version? I believe in 6 impossible things before breakfast. The Jabberwocky can be vanquished. There's a lot of messages and meanings for someone watching this, and we need to dig more into you and what's going on for you, because you're at a very new place and you don't even realize it yet at the same level. Kind of like a caterpillar suddenly coming out as a butterfly, but nobody told them they're a butterfly, so they're trying to figure out what the heck's going on in their world. But 38, you are rare and free. There are no one like you, my dear. There's no one like you. So what's not possible for somebody else, that's their journey. 7-Eleven, as I say that. Those that tell you no, it's no for them. Obviously, don't put your hand in a hot stove or step into a fire or step into a highway where cars are coming. Yeah, if someone tells you don't do that, and yet you know how different that is versus the person who's like, you think what dream can you accomplish? Oh dear, are we no longer going to allow them in your energy? We're not going to tell them things that we want to accomplish or haven't accomplished yet. Let me give you a piece of advice for somebody who had to learn it the hard way most of her life. You tell after you've accomplished, after the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. We all like pudding, right? You don't have to, but you get my joke. You don't say, gee, I wish I want, to random people. You tell them after it's done, I wanted to, so I did it, and here's the proof that it's done. You didn't tell me. Why do you feel the need that I had to tell you before, like I had to clear it with you? Now, I will say, if you're in a committed relationship, living together, relying on each other in any way, shape, or form with someone, please don't think that gives you an excuse to just go do willy-nilly with your life and leave the person holding the bag and trying to figure it all out when you previously had a conversation and an agreement. Yes, you're allowed to change things that you want to change, but yes, you also have to make sure that it's working for the partnership you're in, or there needs to be a conversation about whether that partnership needs to continue. You got to get honest. You can't say, listen, I know that I was the person that was the breadwinner and I was holding down the fort, but I quit my job today and I decided I want to climb Mount Everest, even though I never got out of my chair for 15 years. So hold down the fort. I'll be back at some point, hopefully. No, that's not going to be something that's acceptable. And yes, you should get your butt kicked for that. And yes, that's something a narcissist would do. But there is a difference between that and being like, you know, I've always wanted to do this. Let's discuss it. Let's see how we can make it happen. Yeah, that might mean that you got to do a little more on this side, but I need you to do that so we can make this happen. It's depending on each individual case, okay? So don't come snapping at me. Because if you need to, do the private reading. Half an hour reading comes with a Reiki session and we can get some healing into you also. But for you, yes, you're allowed to be the rare, amazing, incredible soul that you are and keep flourishing. All right? Wake up. It's your time. It's go time. Book your reading. I love you. Alex.